We're live. Happy Tuesday, all you happy people. Quick disclaimer, I did not create an event for today. Um, I'll tell you all what happened to me last night, and I will tell you what happened to me last week because I was not on here. But in today's live stream, we are going to talk about LinkedIn tips for enrolled agents because I have my content calendar here, but I have had a lot of inquiries about whether or not I could help people with LinkedIn. Um, Disclaimer, I am no LinkedIn guru or expert, but I have found success on the platform. So today I'm just going to share what I have learned with you all. And while you were hopping on, which I don't think I have anybody yet, I am going to go ahead and pull LinkedIn up. I'm going to share it to my personal page. And if you are on right now, go ahead, drop down and say, hey, what's up? If you're catching this on the replay, please go ahead and hashtag replay. Sorry about that. And if you're seeing this later on YouTube, make sure that you like the video, make sure that you are subscribed to the page, you hit the notification bell. So whenever I post these types of videos, you'll get a notification. But in addition to that, if you ever want to join me live while I'm doing these videos and you don't want to wait until it gets uploaded to YouTube, feel free to follow me on LinkedIn. You can find me at Timalyn S. Bowens EA. I take that back. On LinkedIn, I'm just Timalyn Bowens EA, or on Facebook, Timalyn S. Bowens, America's favorite EA. Hey, Deja, how are you doing on today? Let me go ahead and make sure that I am streaming on LinkedIn. And I want to share this to my personal page. Deja, do you have any big plans for Thanksgiving? What are you cooking this year? I am trying to be the paper cup, paper plate, drink person. I'm not trying to cook a thing. Okay. I'm on Facebook. Good, good, good. Come on, LinkedIn. Be good to me. Cool beans. I'm good on LinkedIn. I see it streaming. For whatever reason, StreamYard is kind of funky. So I can see Facebook comments today, but I can't see my LinkedIn comments right now. But Preacher Man, Pastor Juan is with us on LinkedIn. Hopefully, it's going to pull up over here soon. I am so sorry about that. Let me go ahead and get this shared on my personal Facebook and I will get rolling, okay? If you're catching this on the replay, you can probably go ahead and fast forward to the 5-minute mark so you miss my rambling. So sorry, you all. So on the live stream on Facebook, I'm actually on Timalyn Bones, America's favorite EA, and I'm wanting to share it to my personal page. And what is happening is when I'm going to the video, it's switching the profile. And that is not what I need right now. All right, so Deja says yes. Cooking chicken, turkey, cornbread. Oh, girl, hold on. Let me just pull that up. Let me pull it up, and then I'll read it in a minute because I'll forget that I'm supposed to be sharing this. All right. And then, good morning, Karina, Preacher Man, Pastor Juan. Are you cooking for Thanksgiving or are you going to somebody else's house to eat? Sorry, you all. All right, I'm shared. So Deja says yes, she's cooking chicken, turkey, cornbread, stuffing, and greens. Your sister's doing the baked mac and sweet potatoes, and your other sister's making you a birthday pie and other desserts. Wait, when is your birthday? Is it already passed? That does sound like you all are having a nice little feast, though. So let me see. Pastor Juan still tuned in. He's not going to tell us what he's cooking. He doesn't want us to come find him. Deja says, today, well, snap. Happy birthday, Deja. As you guys are hopping on, make sure you tell Deja happy birthday. I hope that you still get birthday gifts and they don't tell you that all the food is for your birthday. Yes, yes, yes. Happy blessed birthday to you. So let's go ahead and get rolling. Let's see. Who could that be? Joseph O.A. Bowen says, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Deja from the Bowens house. You are very welcome. So, folks that hopped on since I've started, let me know down in the comments that you are with me. Somebody is calling me on video. I don't even know that number, so we're going to ignore that. Say hey down in the comments so I know that you're here. If you're catching on the replay, hashtag replay. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, all the fun things so you get this. And then my folks on LinkedIn, a lot of you guys may or may not be in the office, so I'm not going to give you as much flack today if you don't say anything. But if you get the opportunity, go ahead and make sure you say hey down in the comments, all right? So Deja says, thank you to everybody. Karina says, good morning. Good morning, Karina. Miss Dominique Hill, the business credit expert, is in here in the room with us today. One of my Louisville tax sisters. Letitia says, hey, good morning. All right, you all. So I gave the disclaimer before some of you guys hopped on. I'm not a LinkedIn expert. Okay. It is a platform that I'm comfortable with using. And over the past year, I have found a lot of success with it. Let me go back. I found success with it before the last year. However, same thing as with my YouTube channel. When I was in Q4 of last year, I said, in 2023, I'm going to focus on LinkedIn, I'm going to focus on YouTube, and I'm going to own those platforms. So I've been able to find success with both of them. At least once a month or so, I've been asked if I have a masterclass for YouTube. I do not. I do not do mentoring or coaching over there. But I am going to do a live tomorrow night about YouTube content strategies. And I've been asked if I could do a masterclass or like coaching, mentoring for LinkedIn. Don't do either one of those either. If you're in my coaching mentoring program, it's something that I can help you with, breaking it down into obtainable steps to help you reach your goals. But because I kept getting the inquiries, today I was going to talk about the EA license renewal. And I was like, hey, this is the perfect time for me to actually break down what I do on LinkedIn. Because depending on what your goals are for Q1, this is the perfect time to go ahead and build your page to be an authority on LinkedIn. All right. So let me look over on LinkedIn because I don't know who Video 1T is or how they commented, but I don't see that over here. Let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, we have to figure out what your actual goal for LinkedIn is. Okay. If you're on here and you are a business owner, just drop like a 1 in the comments just so I can see. If you're not a business owner, drop a 2. Because what I want to get a feel for, if you're a business owner, your ultimate goal is to make money, right? If you're not a business owner, you may have different types of goals. You may want to stay top of mind because maybe you have a job, but you're looking to go somewhere else. Maybe you have a job, but you're doing outreach for that job to get clients for the job, or maybe you want to be able to collaborate with other businesses. But I want to make sure before I go too deep, I know my audience, right? And I give you tips that are going to actually help you. So, okay, Karina put a 1 in the chat for business owner. I know a few of you others are business owners as well. Let me see. This is so weird. My LinkedIn comments are not showing up over here. Let me catch up. So, Pastor Juan says tuned in. Miss Lavangela Webster is tuned in, says good morning. Good morning to you too, Lee. Oh no, Pastor Juan says he's currently sick. I hope you get better and you're able to eat on Thursday. That's no fun at all. Deja, Pastor Juan also says happy birthday to you. All right, so I know some of you all are business owners, but I know some of you all are employees as well. So I'm not going to ask you to snitch on yourself here on the live stream. Let's just talk about Q1 for business owners. So when we're looking at the goals that we have for LinkedIn, Letitia said both of them. No, she said both. When we're looking at the goals that we have for LinkedIn, like I said, if you're an employee or maybe you're a student watching me, your goal is to get your resume, because really it's a social media resume, out to as many employers as possible. So we have the goal of getting more eyes on our profile. All right. So that too can work for business owners. But what I want you to realize is it doesn't matter how many eyes you have on your profile if they're the wrong eyes. All right. So majority of you all are in the tax world. I know about 3 of you all are not. Let me use myself as an example, because I'll have people say, hey, we can help you get more eyes on your profile. We can help your reach. For me, I do tax representation work. All right. The people that I help the most are folks that owe $100,000 or more. That is who I serve. Outside of other tax professionals who want to learn how to become an enrolled agent, build their EA firm, I help taxpayers if they don't owe $100,000. Typically, they are being audited or that they're being levied. A lot of people that want to help me get more eyes are helping me get more, I'll say, general eyes. They're helping me get people interested in tax preparation. Now, if you are doing tax preparation, that's okay, no slight towards you all, but think about it. Everybody that makes money has to get their taxes filed. 1 in 50 people have a tax problem, but it's not going to be a tax problem at the level that I help at. So for me, anybody in the US that's making any kind of income is going to need their taxes done. Yes, I can get those eyes on me, but are those the actual eyes I want? Right? So we have to be sure that when we're saying, okay, for the rest of the year, for Q4, I want more eyes. But with that being said, we have to fine tune that goal and say, what kind of eyes do I actually want on my platform? All right. So if you're in the tax world, again, everybody has to get their taxes filed. But we have different niches within the tax world, right? So, for example, at one time, I specialized in working with an insurance agent. There are people on here that maybe they specialize in helping families. Again, all families are going to need to get their taxes filed, but not all families have insurance agents in them. So when I'm looking at my goal of who I want to call out on LinkedIn to look at my page, I don't need to be putting out content about general taxes or different family scenarios. If I'm focused on insurance agents, I need to make sure that the content that I put out is all focused on insurance agents. Okay. Now, one thing I hear a lot, people will say, well, why do you use LinkedIn? It's so boring. You can't show any personality. I make money on LinkedIn. And yes, posting about the same thing over and over and over again can be boring. So I want you to think for yourself. If you're not at work, this is perfect opportunity. You can grab a sheet of paper. If you are at work, you can go back and catch the replay. I'd love if you guys would give me some engagement in here, but let's use somebody as an example. All right. We are going to go ahead and we're going to figure out part of your content strategy for the rest of the year for LinkedIn right here live. So, somebody in here in the comments, and I'll check out LinkedIn too because you guys' comments aren't pulling over. Let me know, who do you help? What type of eyes do you want to get on your LinkedIn profile? Hey, Miss Dorothy, how are you doing today? You are in Memphis, I believe. Are you doing any cooking on Thanksgiving? We have Deja on here. She's doing beans, greens, potato. No, I'm just kidding. She was doing chicken, all kinds of stuff. You have to scroll up and check out the comments. But also, it's her birthday, so make sure you let her tell her happy birthday in the comments. All right, guys. I mean, I can use a general example of taxes, but I would actually, like to do something a little customized to help somebody out. Let me make sure nobody said anything over here. All right, so Miss Dorothy, what are you over there cooking? And while you're putting that in, I'm going to go ahead. I'll use myself as an example. All right, because I know I do have EAs on here. I have other aspiring EAs as well. On LinkedIn, how many times, or Facebook, because some of you guys are on Facebook too, on LinkedIn or Facebook, how many times do you all see somebody make a post that says, "Oh my goodness, I owe the IRS over $100,000. I need help"? I've been on LinkedIn since 2011 or 12. I've never seen it, right? Thank you, Letitia. Somebody give me something. Letitia says 0. Now, how many times do you guys see somebody say, "I need to get my taxes filed"? Who do you guys have? Where should I go? How much help? Or who can refer me to somebody? I'll go ahead and answer. I know there's a lag here, but Letitia says she sees it a lot. And Karina answering that first question, people don't say it. So, yes, but people advertise for it. And that's the point I'm getting to on LinkedIn. So, LinkedIn, they pick you up, if you want to say their algorithm, picks you up when you are consistent. And like I said earlier with the whole insurance agent thing, you get bored or burnt out posting about the same thing if you're not passionate about it. Sometimes, even if you are passionate about it. So, what I would recommend doing, whoever your person is, all right, that you want to talk to, that you want to bring in, attract to your content, you need to focus on one thing. However, find where that one thing intersects with other things that you're passionate about. Let me give you an example. For me, I'm not going to find, I pull up Letitia. I'm not going to find people with their hands raised to say, "Hey, I owe over $100,000." If you were helping, let's say, veterans, or let's say that you help insurance agents, you may see people that say, like, "Hey, I need help with that." However, on the flip side, they are looking for that information. To help you be consistent and not get bored, you need to have 3 pillars of content. Okay. And with the 3 pillars of content, your message can stay the same even though you have 3 different pillars. Let me give you an example. Anybody that's on this live stream is probably somebody that's been following me for a little bit. Can you tell me one thing that I always post about? Even if it's a post about my daughter, if it's a post about my alma mater, what would you say? What is the commonality between all of those different posts? And I see more people hopping in on Facebook and on LinkedIn. So make sure you say, "Hey," when you hop on the live. All right, I'll assume nobody knows. One thing I always talk about is tax representation or advocating for people. I would put a slash there. So if my post isn't about representation, it's about helping somebody, advocating for them. The second thing I always talk about, and this is going to actually be my third thing, but yes, thank you, Mr. Bowens. I always talk about filling the tax literacy gap. And if you think about it, when I make posts about helping taxpayers that owe over $100,000, I'm talking about filling the tax literacy gap. When I'm talking to you tax professionals about helping you to become better enrolled agents, tax representatives, I'm talking about filling the tax literacy gap. I'm just hitting it at two different levels, right? And that still connects to the tax representation or advocating for someone. All right. The next thing that I always talk about mentorship and community. Think about it. You can go back through my post now. When I am taking a look at that, I talk about the Tax Pros Representation Journey, which is my subscription program for enrolled agents, all right, with the private podcast and subscription, article subscription. But even when I'm not advertising that, I share with you all how I'm out in the community being a mentor or serving somebody or helping with guidance. So a lot of the content I'm posting is going to have to do with my alma mater or some kind of mentor program I'm in. Now, what that does, because I'm connecting the two, I'm bringing in my community from my alma mater, which is going to boost my content and help put it out. But it's something I actually enjoy and I'm passionate about, just as much as I'm passionate about doing tax representation. So for you all doing taxes, you all have to make sure that when you're making posts about, okay, it's tax season, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people dread tax season. Okay, a majority of people are not getting refunds. What other piece of life or thing that you're passionate about can you connect with it being tax time? What else can you connect with those different credits and those different deductions that you're talking about to make it interesting? While you guys are doing that, let me catch up with my comments. Miss Dorothy is cooking greens, cornbread, and spaghetti, and she bought a ham from Honey Baked Ham. That sounds delicious, Miss Dorothy. What are we having for dessert? Let me check you guys out over here. So Karina says, so basically all the content, if target audience are people with tax debt, should be tax debt, as opposed to regular tax compliance, planning, or other subcategories. Yes and no. All right. So Karina, that is a very, very good question. It depends on how you want to target those people and at what level you want to target them. So for me, with the $100,000 or more in tax debt, the people get to that point of owing $100,000 because they haven't stayed in tax compliance, right? Because if they were keeping up with their estimated tax payments, then you wouldn't end up owing. So I have to think about the pain points and what they haven't been doing that led them to get to that $100,000. So let me use an example that is not tax related. I'm not going to call anybody out, but I know I have somebody on here who is somewhat of a career coach and resume writer. All right. So an example of something that they could do, they have the subcategories. So like Karina said, in the tax world, it would be tax compliance, planning, and other tax subcategories. But it doesn't have to be tax related. So let me go back to the career coach resume writer. Let's say this person was targeting people early in their career. Okay. So what they could do is share different stories about when they were looking for a job coming out of college. Because that's the other thing that people miss on LinkedIn. Yes, you need to know who you're talking to. So people will call it picking a niche, right? You need to make sure that you're talking to them, not keeping it boring. So, with having the 3 pillars of content, everything should hit one of those pillars and always tie them in when you can. If we have this resume writer and career coach that is targeting people that have just graduated from college, the thing that people connect with, no matter what platform you're on, is stories. Share your personal experience. The enrolled agents that follow me, the ones that are in the program with me, the ones who want me to come teach at different conferences and things, they connect with me because of stories. I was in Florida, all right? I think even when I went to Jamaica, I had other tax professionals ask me about my business partner. Now, do I legally have a business partner? No. But in my post, when I'm sharing about my experiences and how my 9-year-old thinks she's my business partner, she's a part of my content that people love to see. And yes, I wrap that into tax representation, community, and mentoring. So going back to this resume writer, if they're targeting people who are just getting out of college, getting ready to graduate, looking for help with finding a job, what this person can do is share experience that they had when they were in that position. Or they can share experiences that they've had with their clients. Their clients are in that same position, share the wins that they were able to get for that person. And guess what? The people that can relate and connect to that are going to connect and engage with that content. But here's the thing, when we have the right content, we get really, really tired if we get tired too fast if we don't get the results we want fast enough. Because think about it. We live in a microwave society. Like, my daughter doesn't really know what TV commercials are. She gets so irritated when ads pop up on like Hulu. And I'm like, girl, think about growing up when you were watching TV and you had to sit through all the commercials. You had no time to go grab a snack, go to the bathroom. Everything nowadays is so quick. When you decide that you're going to do LinkedIn, there's no, for the majority of people, there's no overnight success. You have to make a commitment and keep being consistent. So, one of the things that I would say with that consistency, we have our 3 pillars of content. You need to decide how often you can commit to showing up and showing up with quality. All right. So let's go back to the resume writer. Let's say, all right, I'm not posting every day. That's fine. You don't have to post every day to be successful. But what you do need to do is make sure that you have content that is going to be of quality, talk to your target audience, and get engagement. So let's say they commit to posting 3 times a week for the remainder of the year. So what is that? 5, 6 weeks? So that's going to give them 18 posts. On Mondays, they're going to share their own personal experience, okay, as a student looking for a job. And they're going to share a win, or they're going to share a loss and how they overcame that loss. On Wednesday, they're going to share how they took that win that they were able to get for themselves and they were able to help a client do the same thing. On Friday, they can do a case study via soundbite. They can talk about something else in their life with their family, their child. But we need to still keep whatever the main topic was throughout the rest of the week. But I promise you all, no, this isn't the platform. LinkedIn isn't for all the keys and everything. You can put jokes. I put jokes. I mean, if you know who Boosie is, like, I put a clip of Boosie last week. And what I did is there was a little excerpt about inflation and the prices going up. Now, you may be thinking, what in the world does that have to do with taxes? Well, I help people that owe the IRS and they can't afford to pay. If groceries are up and I have this soundbite of Boosie the Rapper complaining and saying, "Oh, come on, man." That's how a lot of people feel when they get that IRS bill and they can't pay it. So I was able to connect with them on an emotional level, something that they can relate to, and then tie in, hey, did you know that the IRS has a standard of an allowable expense for groceries and things? If you're paying above that standard, then we can use that to your advantage to get the amount that you have to pay the IRS less. So, yes, was I still talking about taxes? Absolutely. But was I also able to connect on an emotional level, an entertainment level, and get the engagement that I needed? Yes. So, right now, I know I've just kind of been talking. Does anybody have any questions about what I've said so far? Or do you want to use your industry, your business as an example? Let me check my comments. So Miss Dorothy says, a friend of mine is baking me a carrot cake and sweet potato. I like both of those. Might have to roll up on you in Memphis. Let me check LinkedIn real quick. You know what? I just realized on LinkedIn, I may not be seeing the comments because the timing is off right now of what I'm looking at and where I'm at right here. All right, if you don't have any questions, that's fine. But if you guys are good, will you tell me that you're good? If you want me to keep going, say keep going. If you're done, let me know that too while I get this up. You are definitely welcome for the resume to writer story. All right, so Letitia says keep going. All right, let me break this down into even more practical steps. So right now, your target audience, I want you, if you have your pen and paper, to write down whoever your target audience is. All right. And if you're on Facebook and we're not connected on LinkedIn, go ahead and send me a connection request because this is what I'm going to do. If you want the accountability. All right. So for me right now, I've made a commitment to post every day, Monday through Friday, the remainder of the year. Now, if you're following me here, you know on Tuesdays, yes, I may make a post, but I've committed to go live once a week on LinkedIn, and I've been doing this since August. Now you might be like, oh my goodness, I don't want to get on video. How am I going to do that? Well, guess what? I have some of the top topics that I know new enrolled agents are looking for the answers to, things that I know that I can talk about in my sleep. Every Tuesday, I have that topic written out. Now, today's was different because, like I said, I was going to talk about LinkedIn. And actually, I do have this information in a more organized format because I was thinking about doing a LinkedIn class and like actually having the slideshow and everything. But I said, let's be informal today. So I switched it up and I did this. For you, and I really want you to share it in the comments. For you, if you're getting on LinkedIn, how many times or how many days can you commit to posting every week just for the remainder of the year? So, like I said, for me, it's 5. I'm going to post 5 times a week, once a, once a day, Monday through Friday, at minimum on LinkedIn. All right. So Joseph says twice per week. I do not know why LinkedIn isn't coming over. Uh-oh, hang on, guys. Let me refresh it again. All right, so Joseph says twice a week. That's cool. Karina says one time maybe. Look, this is a commitment, Karina. So we have to have one time or no time. We got to drop the maybe. So one time? Or are you gonna be on here? You're not gonna be on here. Let me check the rest of my people. And I don't know why Karina's my only person on LinkedIn pulling over. Okay, so I see your other question. You said, what if you don't have one yet? So, Karina, and anybody else who hasn't been brave enough to share, if you don't know who you are talking to yet, maybe you have it narrowed down to 3 or 2 different people that you want to talk to. What's a piece of content that you can create that is going to hit all of those people? All right. Like I said before, people enjoy stories. So if you're in the same boat as Karina and maybe you're not sure who you want to talk to yet, what piece of content can you use that's going to use a story to take people through that? Let me go back to the resume writer. Look, my resume writer is participating. So that's why I'm doing that. If they use a story about their time when they realized they needed to get their resume together, and they can also connect that to after you've left your first job and you need to get your resume together, and maybe LinkedIn. All right. So you could create content around epiphanies that you've had. If you are studying for a certain exam or certification, one of the things I highly encourage is to make content not so overwhelming, make it real and relevant. Talk about things that you're experiencing in your life right now. So, again, back to the resume writer. Let's say that they are a parent, okay? And when you have school age children, just think about if you went to college, like what kinds of things did you need on your high school resume to enroll in college? So, we could have a story here about, wow, I'm supporting my child. And I realize right now they're building their life resume to go into college. But what happens when you leave college and you need to be able to put that resume on paper for employers? Here are 3 tips that I recommend. So, what that person has done, they've connected with parents that see their posts, right? They've also connected with people who may be students and they're like, oh my goodness, like I did all this amazing stuff in high school. It doesn't matter anymore. I need to start getting my resume ready for the job search. But because they've also connected with those parents, it's not going to be as urgent for them. But if they're employed and maybe they're not happy at their job, they're going to think, what does my resume look like right now? Like, how would I translate the things that I'm doing? And then that, in turn, maybe not that day, is going to make them go check out that person's profile to see how they help, who they help, and when they can help. All right. But here's the thing, whether you're the resume writer or you are the tax professional, you have to show up the exact same way. Those of you that are enrolled agents following me right now, if I talked about enrolled agents one day, insurance agents another day, and being a business owner, that's cool. I can talk about all 3 of those. But if I'm only posting once a week, excuse me, and not tying all those in, you guys are going to be like, who does she serve? Who does she help? So I have to be consistent in what I talk about, when I talk about it, and how I talk about it. If I got on here and I'm so excited and fired up about talking about being an enrolled agent and it's just amazing, and the next time I'm like, yeah, being an enrolled agent is kind of hard. Which it is. It can be sometimes. And I'm real about that with you guys. But my energy level of how I show up and how I overcome stuff, it has to stay the same for you guys to be engaged. Does that make sense? If it does make sense, let me know. If it doesn't, let me know so I can give you another example. So, Karina, let me know, does that make sense though? Like, if you haven't figured out who you want to actually talk to, there's still synergies between different industries and different service offerings. You do have to narrow it down to at least 2 or 3 though, so that you can make sure that your content can hit 2 or 3 different things. All right. So, Joseph, you said maintain enthusiasm. Are you asking how do you maintain enthusiasm when you're showing up? Um, will you give me a little bit of clarification for that? This is so weird. I'll check out LinkedIn again. Okay, cool. Karina says makes sense. So going back, um, I got almost 10 people on here, but only Karina and Joseph are committing to showing up. Going back to using myself as an example, if we have your commitment and Joseph said twice a week, I said 5 times a week, Karina said one maybe, but when she said maybe, she really meant once. I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna be on Karina. She knows I will about doing that. Looking at analytics, it'll tell you when people are most active. Now, for me, that has not always been the case. LinkedIn's been off a little bit, but you want to make sure when you make your post, it's going to count. So for me, I'm a writer. You guys know I have an ebook, different blogs, write for different publications. What I have found is when I have a post that has a lot of writing, for whatever reason, when I post that in the morning before 7 o'clock, it does well. I can post it later in the day. It'll do okay, but it still doesn't do as well. You are going to have to stay consistent to learn what LinkedIn likes about you and your content. All right. But just posting once and saying it didn't get any engagement, you're not going to have any background data. Remember what I said, you have to stay consistent. Yes, and the enthusiasm, how you're showing up, but you have to stay consistent in posting as well. Now, you might be like, before 7 o'clock, y'all, I'm not awake before 7 o'clock, but LinkedIn has a nice little feature that will allow you to schedule your post. So for me, if I know that I'm going to be posting this 5 times a week, at least once, Monday through Friday, on Tuesdays, I know that I'm going to do a live event. Okay. Typically on Monday, when I started out with this schedule in August, on Monday, I would post something about the topic that I was going to talk about on Tuesday. So that way I can get a little bit of buzz around the topic. And usually I create an event on LinkedIn that says, hey, I'm going to be going live to talk about XYZ. Whoever is engaging or asking questions about the content on Monday, I'm going to make sure I follow up with them, invite them to the event on Tuesday, and help it build more momentum. Now, I did not always enjoy doing video. However, if you notice on LinkedIn, a lot of people aren't using video. LinkedIn, in its own way, rewards you when you use different forms of content. Okay. So, Monday, I'm making a post to talk about whatever I'm going to be going live about on LinkedIn. On Wednesday, I typically take the exact same topic and I write an article, but I write it on LinkedIn. Now, here I've used 3 different forms of content. LinkedIn is going to reward me for that because people aren't using the video on the platform and people also are not using the article feature. Now, some of you all, you learn something, you get really excited, you make a really long post like I do on Mondays, and then you disappear for the rest of the week. Can I encourage you, if your post has 3 to 5 different steps or examples in it, break that into smaller chunks, and now you have one post each day for 5 days. And here's the cool thing about LinkedIn, they have the follow feature, I guess you could say kind of like Twitter, where you don't necessarily have to be connected with somebody. You could start, I'll call it a thread, but you could start a series on Sunday. All right, this is what I'm going to be talking about. If you enjoyed learning about this subject, make sure you follow me because on Monday I'm going to be talking about this, Tuesday I'm going to talk about this, Wednesday this, and so on. Okay, so people who are searching for your topic, and you don't have to use hashtags. You can, but LinkedIn doesn't make you. People that are interested in that are usually going to go and follow the thread and binge it. Now, if you have have one great post that has all that, that's cool. But if you're having trouble creating content, break it down, give it heads up like, hey, this is what I'm going to be talking about this week. And now you've enticed people to go and follow you and be along for the ride. And the more people that engage with that, LinkedIn's going to be like, this must be a good piece of content. So then they're going to push it up in their algorithm. Like I said, one of the ways I've been successful in doing that is by using a mix of the different content features. Now, back during the pandemic, we had, are we still in the pandemic? I don't know. But back when we were all inside, we had the emergence of Clubhouse. So the more active you are on LinkedIn, you may have the creator features. I personally do, and that's why I can do live streams, but you can also use LinkedIn audio events. The upside to that is you can get engagement, you can get people in a room so you can talk to them, you can bring them on the stage. The downside is it's not recorded, so people can't listen to the replay. So there are pros and cons. You have a topic that you know like the back of your hand. You have a topic that maybe you're not comfortable teaching yet. You can create a LinkedIn audio event, invite people that have engaged with your content to talk about whatever you're an expert in. Or maybe you're not an expert yet, but you know more than your audience does. So you invite them into the LinkedIn audio event. If you blow it, it's all right because there's no evidence, no replay. If you kill it, hopefully you're taking notes and you ask for feedback from people that were in the room. But that's another way where you can engage with people and be on for 15 minutes talking about that topic on a Thursday. So I'll go back to Karina. All right. She said, what if you don't have one yet as far as your audience? Let's say you've narrowed it down to the three different people, three different industries. On Monday, you could give us the topics that you're going to talk about. On Tuesday, you can do a short video. It does not have to be live like this. You can record a video and post it. On Wednesday, you can talk about whatever kinds of wins you've seen in that category or those categories, because you can still take one tax topic and talk about how it applies to three different people in the same post. It's just going to make a longer post. But what you are doing is you're saying, hey, let's talk about, I don't know, business use of home, right? If the majority of your people are going to be sole proprietors, let's talk about how the business use of home deduction can affect your taxes, specifically for, and then you name your three industries. All right. Because here's the cool thing about LinkedIn as well. LinkedIn pops up pretty high on Google. All right. So for me, if you were to Google my name right now, my LinkedIn profile is on that first page. Then you see all of the things that I talk about, which I don't know how I skipped this, but another thing you should do is optimize your LinkedIn page. So that background, it should have some type of information showing what you're an expert in. It also has a section that says, hey, I speak about XYZ. So for mine, I think it says tax, debt, consulting. I talk about blogging, because believe it or not, I've gotten a client, an international client, because they looked up what I do on LinkedIn and my profile popped up. And then from there, they went and looked at the content that I put out to see, like, oh, she knows what she's talking about and she's consistent in talking about it. And that ended up resulting in them retaining me. All right, so let me go here. Joseph said he was agreeing with me that you can't change your energy when you speak on your niche. Let's see what Letitia is saying. Let me check LinkedIn really quick. And you all, I am going to hop off pretty soon unless you guys have more questions. But Letitia says, as of now, being a tax professional is my main service I offer. My focused target audience are real estate investors. Should that be my target audience as well for EA clients? Letitia, not necessarily, but because a lot of people that do representation don't narrow down any more than just they do representation work, I think it would be a nice niche to have. And just because you have a niche, a lot of people think, oh, if I have a niche, like I'm putting myself inside of a box, nobody else is going to come to me. That's not going to stop people from reaching out to you to get help if they aren't real estate investors. For example, last week I went somewhere with my daughter and they're like, I follow you on Facebook. And I was like, oh, thank you. They're like, you really know what you're talking about. Do you only help this type of person or can you help me too? They told me about their problem, and I was like, actually, yes, I can help you with that. Here's the link to book a call. So, with you staying with real estate investors, that's actually going to be very, very powerful because, as I was mentioning before with Karina, when she talked about the tax compliance and planning, if you are the tax professional, the go to tax professional for real estate investors, you already know what causes them to end up in tax trouble, right? So you can reverse engineer your content to be like, okay, I do compliance work for real estate investors, and some of my clients end up with XYZ, whatever the main problem is. Here are 3 ways that you can avoid that problem. If you're already facing that problem, it's not too late. I can help you with representation to negotiate that tax debt with the IRS. See what I mean? So it depends on where you want to go with it, what your goal is. You absolutely can help other people. But again, by calling out real estate investors by name, that is going to be powerful because now, since that is who you focus on as a tax professional, your years of experience dealing with real estate investors is going to give you that social media street cred, right? So, like, yeah, she's bomb at helping real estate investors. So, why would you not go to the person that does tax representation that helps real estate investors? Like, there is definitely power in having a niche because it puts you up even more as the expert. Now, did I answer your question? Let me know if I answered your question or if you need me to clarify anymore. All right, you all, I got away from my notes. I am still going to put this on YouTube. However, if you guys are interested in something that is more, what word do I want to use? For lack of a better word, I'll say organized. It actually walks you through like the steps you should take to optimize your profile, an actual calendar of like the different types of content that you can create on LinkedIn, me give you ideas for the content that you should use. Because, like I said, I think we overcomplicate it and we're like, oh my goodness, post once every day. And we get a really good post and it's like super long and like, you had 3 to 5 pieces of content right there. Or how you can take your content that's already successful and you can switch that into different forms of content to attract different people. Because let's be for real, some people read, a lot of people don't. Some people love video, some people don't necessarily need the video, they just need to hear it. Whereas you could do a LinkedIn audio event, right? If you're interested in something like that, let me know. A little bit of housekeeping. Tomorrow night at what's today? Yes, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. I am going to be doing a live stream on using YouTube to build your business. Again, not a YouTube expert, but I am going to be sharing from my experience how I was able to get my page from 200 followers and now I think I'm at like 1342. My goal was to get to 1,000 within 12 months. I actually hit it in maybe 6.5. So I'm just sharing my experience with you, what I did that worked. If you're brave, you can use your industry and I can give you some steps on how you can do the same thing. But I don't see any other questions. So I'm going to head off of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Have a fantabulous Thanksgiving, and I will see you next week.